How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Yo, what's up, chat? Oh, the lights aren't on. Alexa, turn on Koi Pond. Alexa, lights on. I always keep forgetting to turn the lights on these days. Okay, now it's looking a little bit better. How you guys doing? Welcome to the final episode. It is Thursday, September 26th. I always have to guess what date it is, even though I know what date it is, because like I write that date in so many areas on Discord, in my watch list, in my journal, but I still forget what date it is. You know, that just my brain lacks memory space at this point. I only have memory space for charts. That's it. But let's talk about the market. Boy, oh boy, what a crazy gap up on the market. But then that crazy gap up on the market basically got matched with the even more crazier sell-off today. So if you were looking for the short on the market today, or looking for a gap fill on the market today as a day trade, boy oh boy, were you making some money. There were some opportunities on the semiconductor industries, even to the long side and to the short side. The short side really got kicked off once SMCI news came in. We'll talk about that a little bit. I actually forgot to put it on my watch list, so let me really quickly add it here to my watch list in the semiconductor basket. SMCI news catalyst coming in and kind of breaking the strength in the semiconductor basket and taking a lot of them back to the downside. That opened up some good shorts today. Market flushing all the way back to the downside. Looked like it did not have any buying power at all, especially off the opening drive. Big sell-off today on the market. And then what else was important? We had Bitcoin making a little bit of a move because a bank got approved to now be a Bitcoin tender or a Bitcoin provider. So that got Bitcoin moving a little bit. So we have Bitcoin on the watch list. What else do we have on the watch list? I don't have this on the watch list, but I saw it on a tweet, so maybe we will put it on a watch list. This is the airline sector. All making a move together to the upside with lower oil prices and a bunch of other catalysts being sprinkled in with that sector. So most likely travel, jets, ETF, that's the airline sector. Potentially a long setting up on there. We know American Airlines has taken a big beating not too long ago. Maybe that one catches some traction too. And the one more sector that I'm almost forgetting is China. right? Number one sector in the market right now. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Well, it was really strong. China was fairly strong today. I shorted the Chinese market and I made money, but if you were looking for the long, you would have also made money on that side. So we'll talk about my trades on the day. We'll go through all the sectors that we just mentioned. I have all those sectors on my watch list. Actually, I don't have the Chinese sector on my watch list now that I'm looking at it. How did I miss that? I don't have the Chinese sector, and we're gonna add the potential ETF, or not just ETF, potentially add some of the airliners that have been moving up today. So lots of names to talk about, and last but not least, I can't forget Costco reporting earnings today. So we have to open up Benzinga real quick. Let me open up Benzinga on my second screen while we head over to the full screen, show you guys the tweet, which is actually putting the airline sector on the watch list for me. So obviously we know SMCI pushed to the downside. If you were watching the market, you would have known that SMCI pushed to the downside. They had reports of a DOJ probe over the company's accounting practices, so obviously not a good thing. Previously they had a short report, then they had a whistleblower, then they had a DOJ probe coming out. In between all of that, they had a delay of their 10K filings. So lots of shady stuff happening over here. Most likely then the stock returning back into normal prices. Well, it's still got a lot of room to go back to be normal prices, but SMCI getting beat up quite badly. Micron surging to the upside on a very good earnings report, but gave up a little bit of its gains today. Still bounced off of 107, 108 area. So Micron still potentially a trade to keep an eye on tomorrow. Monster moves are expected on this name after a big earnings report like that. The airline sector all moving up because of cost cutting across the sector. Okay, along with that, lower oil prices means that, you know, they get to charge people the same amount of money or more, and you know, not really cost as much per person or per luggage. It's actually per weight, right? Not cost as much per weight that they have to carry. So basically opening up their operating margins, their profit margins, and so on. So LUV, UAL, AAL, DAL looking to potentially go on a day 2 rally tomorrow. JBL moved up 11% today. We kind of ignored JBL because of how important the semiconductor sector was. So I did not have a trade on JBL at all, nor is it on the watch list for tomorrow, sadly. If it, let's go take a quick look on JBL. How did JBL do today? Let's go take a look on the daily. Volume's gonna die off tomorrow. I'm not gonna care about it. Nope. I think semiconductor, China, Bitcoin, airline is more than enough sectors that you need for one day. So we have a lot of sectors already on watch. Potentially even Wells Fargo in the banking sector, because that one has been having some issues recently. But here, let's continue down this report. You got Baba, Pinduoduo, Baidu, JD, even XPEV, NIO, Li Auto, all of them moving higher again. MSTR with carrying to the upside by almost 9% thanks to the Bitcoin rally above 65K. And another ETF for gold because of the whole Chinese stimulus measure announced that have been coming out, carrying gold, silver, a bunch of other materials. It's a mineral, right? It's a mineral. I'm mining for gold in Minecraft, and it says mineral if I remember correctly. Well, it's a metal. The metal, so it's not a mineral. I don't know. I'm gonna stop before I make myself look like a bigger fool. Go to school, kids. Go to school, okay? Don't drop out of university. Finish university. Go to school. But here's all you basically needed to know about what happened in the market today, and that's basically where our watch list comes from. I really want to go take a look at the airline sector real quick. Boom, lots of prices already piercing through on American Airlines. That's awesome. What's the other one? LUV's had some good catalyst recently, and it has been making a run up, but LUV basically gave up most of its gain today, still up 5% after giving up most of the gap up that the stock has had. DAL, Delta Airlines, wow, nice move on Delta. That's almost a pretty good extension for us to take advantage of if it starts seeing some selling on this position. So Delta Airlines on watch. You know what, let's actually add it to the watch right now, the ones that we do like as we're scouting through it, and then we can talk about it when we get to them. So low DAL. AAL could be on watch. Potentially something there for us to keep an eye on. LUV basically gave up all of its gain. I'm not really interested in this one. What's the other airlines? We got UAL. That's the one I'm missing. UAL, United Airlines. Woof. Okay. Keeping this one on watch too. So we got 3 airliners that basically made the cut. Basically 2 airliners that made the cut. AAL just gets lucky to be in the cut for tomorrow, but DAL and UAL make the cut. So we'll talk about these when we get down the watch list for those ones. But for now, let's start with the one that reported earnings today after hours, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is Costco. Costco, if I remember correctly, dropped about 1%, so not really a whole lot of move over there, but it did get under, sadly, 900, which was a level that I know a lot of people were not scientifically, but like psychologically, had a psychological level of 900, and they wanted to see the stock stay above 900. A lot of people were praying that the stock actually has a stock split. I was praying that it has a stock split so I can buy the stock at lower prices and start getting ready to invest it and so on. But now maybe it won't have a stock split, or maybe they did announce. But if they announce a stock split, it usually should go up. So let's go take a look at the earnings report using our friends over at Benzinga. If you are interested in using Benzinga, check out the link below in the description and click on my link where it says Benzinga Pro. Click on that link. We got Alpha Exchange in the chat. Fuck the airlines, look at cruise lines, and your mic needs to be louder, FYI. Is it really that low? How about this? Boom. Is that better? Is that better? Hopefully that's a lot better. I can keep going here. Okay, I know this is really loud. I know this is getting really loud. That has to be really loud. All right. So Costco, we got what reported fourth quarter financial results after the market. Here are the results. Reported revenue of 79.697 billion, missing the estimates of 79.973 billion. Membership based retailer reported quarterly earnings of 5.29, beating the estimates of 5.08. So beating estimates on one side but missing on the revenue, beating on EPS. Comparable sales in the fourth quarter were up 5.3%. That's pretty good. 5.5% in Canada, not bad. 5.7% in other international segments. So basically growth in same store sales. Total comps climbed by 5.4% year to year, and total e-commerce sales jumped to 18.9%. The reported figures were adjusted to account for the total weeks in the quarter. Okay, that's whatever. This year was 16-week period versus 17 weeks of 2023. Membership fees came in at 1.512 billion, up from 1.509 billion in the same period last year. Costco announced it's raising the prices of its annual store membership by $5. And the membership fee increase went into effect on September 1st. Okay, so it's already in effect. Costco noted it operates 891 warehouses. The company said it ended the quarter with $9.906 billion in cash and cash equivalents. I don't see the outlook, which is not a good sign. I mean, Apple usually never gives an outlook, but let's continue to see if we can find the outlook here somewhere. Don't see the outlook anywhere, so sadly no outlook being given. But the market did not like, I guess, the miss on the revenue side, because for the most part we did see the company growing, single-digit growth, but still growth, and they're going to raise the membership limit by $5. Well, they already did on September 1st. So that's going to reflect in the next earnings report. Basically, they're going to be making $5 per person. They're not going to be losing people for charging $5 more, and they're going to always be signing on more people as they have been. So I just see upside over here. So any downside move on Costco just seems like a you know, what they call it, a rollback on Walmart, a rollback in Walmart stores. So basically, I just consider this as a rollback on Costco. Let's quickly go see what Costco's EPS, sorry, what is it? Yeah, PE is, sorry, PE ratio. The Costco PE ratio 55, that's in the red, so that means it's a little expensive. Forward PE 45. Even if we do go into a recession, not that I'm saying that we're going to go into recession, people always will have to go buy food, and where do people go to? Costco or Walmart. So this is the reason why Walmart and Costco are almost resilient companies. But one thing that Victor H, who's actually in the chat today, let me quickly give a shout out to Victor H. Victor H, happy that he's making a lot of money on the Chinese stocks. Love to see it, Victor. Well, one thing that Victor H says is, you know, the company is not the stock and the stock is not the company. So the stock price at the moment not getting any love, even though they're showing growth on all sides. Tomorrow, price action will be the only thing that matters. If we're seeing selling under 900, I'm basically playing under over 900. If I'm seeing selling under 900 tomorrow, I'm looking only short. But if the stock is back above 900 and we're holding cleanly above 900, then there's a no-brainer. What the hell? Then there's a no-brainer long on this stock. Did my notepad crash? Did not. It's right here. So basically playing under over 900. It either shows resistance into that area, or it shows me support above that price point. Right now, the volume profile shows you not the largest node, but the second largest node is right at 900. Right at 900 bucks. Surprise? Nope, not really. That's how it just always works. Next stock I have on the watch list is straight up into the semiconductor basket. We got Nvidia. Let me just delete that box. Don't need that box anymore. We got Nvidia over here. Today it tried to hold up. It tried to hold up after gapping up to the north side with the rest of the market. But all of this move basically came from SMCI, that they getting that DOJ probe. I mean, look at the amount of volume the stock traded in this area, basically showing you that we could have a resistance right into that 410. 410 is also where today's VWAP is. That purple anchored VWAP is the move from where this downside started. It's the anchored VWAP from that move, so that's also going to be a significant anchored VWAP. It's basically a 401, 402 at the moment. So let's see what the stock does. We're gonna expect more downside tomorrow. If we get an opportunity to ride the stock lower, that's gonna be great. I mean, we basically went right back into September lows and kind of bounced off of September lows, potentially rejects on pops tomorrow, and then we get even more ride to the downside over here. The stock started its move originally from what, $190, and then it started going absolutely bonkers. Crazy. What a crazy stock. One of my buddies actually rode the stock from like 200 all the way into 1000. Smashed the trade with the 100 shares. Smashed it. Shout out to him. SMCI, scare them all out. I mean, this is... It is flushing the semiconductor industry single-handedly. Not that the rest of the stocks deserve to have that much of a fear in the market because of that one single stock, but it's just the nature of it. Sympathy has brought down a lot of these stocks today. They could have actually held their gains, in my opinion, if it wasn't for that SMCI catalyst. For example, AVGO was looking ridiculously strong today. We were talking about that 177 area, if you guys remember, but the stock actually managed to hold above 178.50 for quite some time off the open, but struggled into 180 and then gave you a short off of 180 all the way to the downside. I actually tried a short at 180 that I got stopped out into, but then later on this pop into 177, which was the level we're talking about yesterday, I see some rejection coming in. It's also yesterday's VWAP, so all things combined, I'm looking for getting into a short there, and that's exactly how I pull off that trade. So let me actually go show you my charts on the day today. Why are these charts so ugly? So there you go. My original short, I get stopped out, then I flip long because I think, you know, if it's not going to go short, it's most likely a long from that 180. I give that 180 long almost $1 per share. I lose $1 per share. I back out from it. So I lose on the short, then I lose on the long also. But eventually, I catch the short. Nice little quick scalp right into low a day, right? $2 scalp, I guess, right back into 175. Able to add some shares on the break of this low over here too, and then basically have a nice ride on the downside on a scalp. Eventually, you could have flipped long on this position too, right at that double bottom, but that's not something I was looking for. I was looking for the short, and eventually the stock never really wanted to go lower. The long was in play. The market had reversed at that point. A lot of stocks were actually reversing at that point. Market actually never got below yesterday's low and stuck under it. We did get below under yesterday's low, but what I meant to say is we never really, this is Qualcomm, sorry, market didn't really stick too much under it. We managed to bounce back up, so that was pretty bullish of a move on the market here. I don't like that box hologram. How do I get rid of that? Oh damn, that histogram is so ugly. Feels like my eyes have like the layer of glare over it. I hate that histogram, so ugly. So Nvidia, I think that it got beat down because of SMCI. Still managed to stay above 120. Could potentially look for reversal long tomorrow, especially if the market continues to stay strong. It looked pretty strong today. Market actually closed green, if I remember correctly. Yeah, up 1%. At one point, we were about to turn red on the market, and I think we actually did turn red on the market, but we managed to close up 1% after a huge gap up on the market too. So if the dips on the market get respected the way they got respected today, then we are looking for a potential rebound on most of these semiconductor stocks like Nvidia, Micron. Not that Micron needs to rebound, it already rebounded intraday pretty well, but Micron could potentially even start making a move back into 115. Intel had a pretty good move into 2450, and that got sold off. Intel could find buying again and go back into 2450. So lots of these semiconductor names. ARM, for example, ARM was a big trade. It tried to stay above 150 for quite some time, and then that got broken down all at the same time when SMCI came and shook the market down. So this one could get back above 150 and have some potential move back to the upside if the SMH, the semiconductor industry, looks bullish and looks for a reversal. I want to see the market really have that reversal pattern before I go ahead and look for that long on Nvidia, or if I look for the long on Micron. When it comes to SMCI though, I want to mainly look for the short. I want to see the pops getting rejected. You don't want to see the stock higher than 415. Let's say 420, right? The beautiful number 420. If the stock is above 420, there's really no more shorts on the stock at that point. You want to wait until sellers actually show up. They could show up at 430, 440, 450. We don't know where they're going to show up. You want to see where, if they actually show up. For me, 415 is kind of the last line in sand, but I may just give it up to 420 just because of that funny number. And you know, I'm a funny guy. Right, so looking forward to see how SMCI sets up tomorrow on pops. I want to see it push back into today's lows. I want to see more weakness to the downside, but also ready to flip that idea back up long if we're staying above 400. If the stock has staying power above 400, then you don't want to be even thinking short on pops into 420 into 415, because 400 clearly is showing you buying. That means someone is stepping up and buying the stock at the moment at those prices. You don't want to fight that buying power. If the stock can then get under 400, if it's staying above 400, then it could potentially open up that downside room, because whoever was buying above 400 all the way into 415, they are all wrong now, and now the downside pocket room really opens for us to play with. So there's like a couple scenarios that you have to really vision, map them out, and be ready to pull the trigger when they set up. So it's a very selective trade. I'm not going to just trade it randomly, and it's going to be like maybe 1 or 2 shots, and those shots have to be shots that you're willing to lose quite a bit of money on, right? You have to be ready to lose quite a bit of money on. Give it that risk that you think the stock deserves. That way you can capture the reward, because the ATR on the stock is what, like $40-50. If you're only giving the stock $1.50 risk, you're most likely going to get stopped out based on where your entry is. Even if your entry is at the peak high, even then you might just get stopped out really quick. So if I get short 415, I'm willing to lose all the way up to 420 and see the stock trade higher than 420, because I think it could easily wiggle in that $5 pocket, shake out some weak hands, shake out some stops, and then eventually crack back down. I truly believe that could happen. So just be careful when you're trading this bad boy. If you want a sympathy trade, SMCI, although I don't think SMCI should be a big sympathy trade tomorrow, it should be some of the other names: Micron, Nvidia, Intel. Intel possibly one of the better sympathy names, because people just love selling Intel at the moment. Intel, any good day Intel gets, it just gets absolutely stuffed back down, so you could potentially sympathy trade that one. But mostly I'm just looking for the reversal, as I just mentioned. Mostly looking for that reversal. Let's quickly talk about the airline sector. But we got Alpha Exchange, who wants us to take a look at the cruise liners. So let's go to the 1-year chart and take a look at which one? RCL? I mean, RCL is like all-time highs, isn't it? I remember that. RCL at all-time highs. That's pretty crazy. CCL, haven't looked at these ones in a long time. CCL. NCLH, give me those shorts. Setting up for shorts very soon. What's the other one? RCL, CCL, NCLH. Anything else you guys can remember that I can't at the moment? Can't really remember anything else. Delta Airlines, DAL, monster pop over here to the north side, looking to see how the stock reacts into the next even dollar or any resistance area. If it finds resistance right into today's high, you can see how 51.99 was exactly today's high. So I'm just gonna put 52 as a possible resistance on Delta Airlines. If we see resistance around 52, looking for a nice little short opportunity back into today's VWAP, or at least back to $51, giving us a quick little scalp to the downside. So Delta Airlines, it's under over 52. If we're holding above 52, then more upside for sure expected on this position. AAL, quickly go to this window and close it. Oh, I can't close it. AAL, pretty much going back into that peak high of $12 and then rejecting off of that. So once again, another very simple under over on this position. $12. If we're finding buying above 12, look for that potential long. If we're finding selling under 12, look for that sell off. This one actually managed to pierce through 59, close just slightly below 59. The previous peak high was 58.23. I would say under over 58, but the fact that we got above 58 and closed at 58, at this point my under over is almost 60. I want to see that bigger even dollar come into play. Either you walk into 60, trap some more longs, and then flush, or you get above 60 and then you stay above 60 for me to even think about the long. So I want to extend this one's under over a little bit higher because of that wiggle that it's had into this most recent high. So not as clean as AAL or DAL, both of them rejected off of pretty much previous peaks and almost perfect even dollars. So looking to see how those play out tomorrow. This one, I'm going to give it a little bit more wiggle room. Next sector is Bitcoin, but I almost forgot that I need to add China sector. Let me just quickly add them over here. Baba, JD, Baidu, JD. Add below. So XPEV, NIO, Liado. Okay, so let's actually go to China sector instead because these stocks are going crazy. China. I think the scare is still there for the Chinese sector if Trump actually ends up winning. Right now, what is it? The numbers are 48% for Trump and 52% for Harris. So if the numbers do start shifting and Trump actually ends up winning, we've seen his agenda for the Chinese sectors. We've seen how he wants them to be delisted. I think BABA actually finished its transition recently of moving its primary shares away from the American market into the Hong Kong market, whatever that means. But eventually it should get delisted, if or not should get, but that talk about potential delisting will start being talked about again, I would think, as quick as President Trump wins. So we'll see what happens if that fear comes back into it. But until then, these stocks are going absolutely crazy. You're seeing them gap up, back to back gap ups coming into monster prices. These stocks have now doubled their price almost in a very short span. I mean, do we really see these stocks actually doubling their growth in the next quarter? Not really, right? These are just not possibly. These are just moves off of the most recent news catalyst, the most recent sprinkle from the Chinese markets and so on. Their 50 beeps rate cut, their stimulus packages and so on. Eventually, these will have to get stuffed back down. I'm not saying that this is a short right now, but I am looking for a possible short very soon setting up. The higher this goes, the juicier that move back to the downside is going to be for an intraday trade. So shout out to Baba at the moment, 10%. That's a monster move. But if we start seeing rejections, if I actually zoomed out and you see 106 to the dot was oh, that's 105. Okay, well, we managed to break 105 today, but 106 is today's high. That recent peak high was exactly 105. So possible rejections into this area. 108 is something that stands out. That little consolidation high into 107, 108 stands out also. So looking for barriers to come into the stock. I guess at this point you're basically having an under over of 105. If we still stay above 105 over any pullbacks, well, actually the main level today was 104. The main key level today on the stock was 104. If you see how the stock behaved right there, 104 off the open, struggled to get above it, eventually broke out above 104 and then held 104 cleanly on the pullback. So the 104 looks to be a more important level, but let's just say 105 to 104, you're playing the under over on Baba. If it actually manages to get below 104, manages to get below 105, then potentially a short setup over there coming into play on the stock. But if we continue to stay above those two prices that I just mentioned, look for a nice long coming back into this position. You can ride it to the upside, potentially even a stock that if you want to swing carry it, if you believe in more upside. I mean, look, this is now on year to date, well, not year to date, but from, what is that, February till now, a 59% increase. I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that's sustainable. So looking for a reversion, mean reversion eventually, but for that we need characteristics to change. And if you guys remember about characteristics changing, that on how it happened on Palantir, it needs to reject previous days highs. Once we go into previous days highs, pull back, reject previous days anchor VWAP and pull back. So if BABA starts looking like that, very similar, going into 106, not managing to be able to being able to stay above 106, pulls back under yesterday's VWAP and gets rejected by yesterday's VWAP every time we trade into it, and then looks for a recipe for a nice reversal as a swing trade and a whole move downside. So let it set up, don't force it. If it's not there yet, then the higher it goes, the better the short. The higher it goes, the better the short. So you can stay away from it. If you want to go long, once again, 104, 105. Pinduoduo. I mean, wasn't this stock recently almost looking like it was gonna get destroyed, but here we are back above 130 instantly. So monster reversion on Pinduoduo, almost like nothing was wrong. So shout out to Temu, shout out to Pinduoduo. No comments on Temu at all. You know, I could rant about Temu forever. No comments about Temu, but shout out to Pinduoduo, man. That's a monster bounce on this position. But once again, the idea is still the same. Looking for characteristics changing, that mean reversion, looking for stock to go back to the downside, some sort of a gap close eventually coming into play. But the higher it goes, the better the short. Today looks like 132 was the barrier on this position. It could not manage to get a dollar or a penny above 132. I'm expecting that same barrier for us to play with tomorrow. So let's see if 132 gives us a pop into 132, and if you see failures into it, or it gets above 132, maybe into 133, 134, but then pulls back and it does not manage to stay above 132, that's going to be a game on short for me back to the downside on Pinduoduo. I know Baidu actually held pretty well at VWAP today. So that's most likely going to be my under over price on Baidu. So right here, all day going into the after hours, we basically held 102. So 102, 101, yeah, 102 basically. Today's open was 102. It basically held above 102. That's gonna be the kind of the under over on the stock. Then you also have 104, which is like today's high. Not as clean of a stock at the moment, but it's still the same idea. And if you want to trade the overall idea and not individual stocks, you can just do so on FXI. You don't have to go trade individually BABA, Baidu, and JD and so on. You can just go trade FXI, which is a Chinese ETF. Here's how I traded the Chinese ETF today. This was that level that I was looking to see if we can get above. It did not manage to get above, double top. That's where I should have gone short. But then I started getting short on the pullback into VWAP. Was looking for a bigger move down. Eventually that move never really came into play, so I just took my exits as soon as I was seeing, you know, change happening. Baba was managing to get above its VWAP. Pinduoduo was actually starting to go higher. Baidu looked like it was going to reverse. So noticing all the three stocks reversing, I started to close my FXI position. And remember, I told you this yesterday. If you're trading the Chinese stocks, you might want to have FXI open, or maybe just have the other Chinese stocks also open on the side somewhere, just to have it as a barometer. Because I was trading the overall ETF directly, I had those three stocks open on my other monitor, and I was tracking what they were doing. When they were getting sold off, I was getting short, and when they were starting to reverse, I started getting out of my trade, covering, taking profits, and so on. So it's a very good idea to usually have that the ETF of the stocks that you're trading, or at least if you're trading the ETF, have the stocks of that ETF open somewhere so you're watching how they are going. Sometimes I always have a screen filled with QQQ stocks such as Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, Meta, Microsoft. What's the one stock that I'm missing? And Amazon. I don't usually have Google on there because I don't really day trade Google. So I have those 6 stocks up there on my one screen, and they always stay on that screen. That's because I'm always taking a look at what those 6 stocks are doing, and I also have the QQQ and the SPY and the IWM open on the side too. And I'm always taking a look at how the QQQ is doing, and then I'm also making a decision of how my trades and how the stocks I'm looking at are going. And if I'm trading the semiconductor semiconductor stocks, I'm always having somewhere on my screen the SMH sector, which is the semiconductor sector, open. So I'll always have the barometer of that stock that you're trading, or if you're trading the ETF itself, have some of the stocks that are in that ETF open, so you're watching what they're doing. They help you make decisions. So Baidu, not as much as a stock that I want to trade. Never really like trading Baidu anyways. I like trading Baba and Pinduoduo more, so I always ignore Baidu for the most part. Here's JD Vance. Is that his name? I think that's his name, right? JD over here going absolutely bonkers. So JD most likely on the watch list too. Big breakout, big gap ups after gap ups, up 14% today. Potentially could easily go into a higher price point, right? Could go to 40, could go to 42. So the higher it goes, the better it is. But right now, the level that we have on watch is today's high, which is around 38.20. So if we start seeing trouble into $38, into $38.20, the short is on. But if we start playing above this area, then look for that potential move into 40, into $42, which was that, or was it 42? Yeah, $42, which was the recent high over there, potentially coming into play, at which point we can then possibly look short or even look long from here into 42. If China comes out with another positive catalyst overnight, who knows? If China goes up another 2-3% overnight and takes these stocks in their respective markets 2-3% overnight, it is potential that these stocks go up tomorrow right off the gap up, and then look for a better short off the open. Imagine the stock opens up into $42 tomorrow, struggles to stay above 42. That's a monster short back into 38. Monster short back into 38. Same thing for Pinduoduo, same thing for Baba. If they gap up tomorrow and they struggle to stay on the highs, I'm so ready to push the short on these stocks tomorrow. XPEV, Li Auto, all of them going crazy. I was expecting XPEV to struggle into $11. Nope. Gap up again. Another gap up on this stock. Today we did struggle at 12, did not manage to get above 12, but you know, these stocks are all going wild. Here's Li Auto. Li Auto actually pulled back, whereas XPEV did not pull back as hard. NIO pulled back quite hard today, but then it reverted also. I think it struggled around $6 quite a bit. I was thinking about shorting around $6 today, but I said, nah, stay away. The best you get out of it is maybe 565, 570, and it actually bounced off of 570. So I did not want to play for like 30-20 cents of profit on that position, although the risk would have been maybe 5 cents at best on NIO. So the risk to reward says, yeah, you should have taken it, but I just didn't want to play that game at that point. You know, I have seen, I talked about how I'm only looking for dip buys on NIO. So if I wanted that dip buy, you had that opportunity. I also ignored that opportunity too. So XPEV, NIO, Li Auto, not as high importance, not as high priority for my Chinese sector stocks tomorrow, but still on the watch list. I'm going to keep watching how they move and see if they set up for a potential trade. If the 5-minute chart pattern looks good, then I might look to trade them. But if I am looking to trade the Chinese sector, it's most likely going to be Baba, Pinduoduo, JD, or FXI directly. If Chinese stocks have a long-term rally, this could be a great space for the GDP for China is going to grow at a 5%, and the government is going to support publicly traded companies. But the problem is, what happens if Trump wins? I know Chinese sector has been beat down quite a bit, and all because of Trump. All that delisting scare. Because most of them are doing great, right? Temu is doing great. Baba also has a lot of competition from Temu. I know you're talking about the whole Chinese sector as a whole, however, but I'm kind of isolating Baba there. I'm so happy to be in the right position to trade this market. Going to put in a lot of work in the next 9 months, says Angry Buddha. I love to hear that, brother. Let's go. Let's make this money, baby. Let's make this money. China stocks went a lot during Trump's term. Check the history. I mean, I'm pretty sure, because I was trading them to the downside when I don't know when Trump was in power, I'll be honest with you. but I was trading them quite a bit to the downside. I remember shorting a lot because of all the delisting scare that happened with Baba, with the Baidu and JD and everything. JD was a good opportunity for the short side. 2026. 2026? Are you predicting Trump's winning? Victor H is predicting the future, chat. 2016 to 2020. Yeah, they went up pretty much. Went up. Wasn't this all of the delisting scare when Trump was in power? Am I confusing myself over here? It's a lot of talk this time of year. I mean, we do have election coming up. So talk is the name of the game until we know who wins. Talk is the name of the game until we know who wins. That's why day trading is, you know, for me, price action is king. What happens intraday is king. News catalyst obviously helps. Knowing the bigger picture helps make a good trade. But price action at the end of the day is all that matters. So even if these stocks are ripping the way they are, shout out to Miss V, these stocks are reaping the way they are, the intraday price action, if it doesn't support the long, for as QQQ today, for example, intraday price action did not support the gap up that the market gave it, right? That is the intraday price action. Just simply short right off the open. We managed to bounce off of last week's high. Struggled a little bit around yesterday's high, but managed to eventually get above yesterday's high. Yesterday's high is exactly where now yesterday's VWAP is. Crazy how that works out, doesn't it? This week's Monday's anchored VWAP is basically at last week's high. So crazy how that math works out. The point is, the gap up just did not have enough buying to support that theory. It just did not have enough buying to support that theory, and we just went for a beautiful gap close. So for a day trade, it only matters to see what the price action says. So for BABA and everything else, for the long term, yes, I'm not gonna beat the drum for the shorts. They are clearly putting in a long-term upside trend at the moment, reversing to the upside. But for the short-term day trade, I am looking for the shorts on these stocks. I'm looking to short them, take advantage of that quick scalp back to the downside potential, gap close, expecting 100 to come into play, expecting BABA to see if there's buyers around $100. This could be like a multi-day short potentially if we actually start seeing the stock struggle under 105. That could open up quite a bit of downside in my opinion. Bitcoin sector, BTC USD. I think, what was it? I don't want to misquote Angry Buddha. Let me scroll up a little bit. There you go. Thankfully, not a lot of messages in my Discord, so I don't have to scroll up a lot. This apparently is one of the catalysts as to why Bitcoin ripped up today. BNY Mellon Bank. Hopefully I'm saying that right. BNY Mellon. I love melons. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Talk about watermelons, you perverts. But BNY Mellon Bank has SEC's approval to offer Bitcoin custody services. So basically, I'm guessing that means that now you can buy and sell Bitcoin through a certified bank instead of, oh, it's a Boston bank? Okay, cool. Instead of having to go through Coinbase or other shady third-party cryptocurrency retailers who randomly go bankrupt. We've seen a lot of them happen before. Quadriga, for example, is a big example in that case, right? We got another one that recently happened where my family was invested in some cryptocurrencies. I think that company went underground and they were not able to pull out the money that they had invested in there. So lots of issues like that happen with cryptocurrencies. But if you do it through a bank, I mean, you can already kind of do it through a bank, through stock markets at the moment. You can invest in Bitcoin futures. You can invest in Bitcoin directly through ETFs and so on, instead of having to go and buy a Bitcoin from Coinbase or from Binance or whatever it is. But now a bank offering that is almost certifying the whole Bitcoin future, saying, okay, one bank accepts it. What's stopping more banks from accepting it? What's stopping JP Morgan from accepting it in the near future? What's stopping, Wells Fargo being like, okay, hey, we're struggling. We're going to start accepting Bitcoin. Boom. You're going to see a lot of people maybe transferring over to Bitcoin and so on. Check Discord, says Angry Buddha. Angry Buddha just tweeted something. Check out Angry Buddha on Discord, ladies, or not Discord. Check out Angry Buddha on Twitter. He's been pretty active on Twitter, posting some great content. What is this? The largest custodial bank? Really? Okay. May receive SEC approval. Michael Saylor, 3 catalysts will take Bitcoin to 5 million. Spot ETF, fair value accounting rules from FASB. Bank custody and lend against Bitcoin as collateral coming soon. So that's already looks like we're getting that coming in right now, being approved. So Bitcoin to $5 million, baby. If you are not in Bitcoin, you better buy it now before it starts going there. I mean, that breakout of the all-time high is going to be something, okay? I know a lot of people sitting on a lot of Bitcoin right now, and that breakout is going to be juicy. So we'll see what happens on this name. Obviously, if Bitcoin's moving this way, you're going to see stocks like Coinbase, MSTR, and IBIT also moving to the upside. So I'm looking for a day trade opportunity, basically copying whatever Bitcoin is doing on IBIT. If Bitcoin's going up, I'm going long IBIT. If Bitcoin's going down, I'm going short IBIT. You can try to do the same thing on MSTR and on Coinbase, but I think this catalyst could potentially be bad for Coinbase, because if banks are offering first bank is this BNY, but if more banks start offering abilities to buy Bitcoins through them instead of going through Coinbase, it's going to basically cut down the amount of revenue Coinbase is going to make. Coinbase is not going to have the incentive to get people to sign up. The people who already have a bank account and maybe have hesitated to open a Coinbase account are now no longer going to open that Coinbase account. All that money Coinbase has already spent on acquiring that customer, they're going to have to spend more money on top of that. So all of this just looks like a bad thing on Coinbase's case for me. So long term, I'm thinking short, but short term, as Bitcoin is doing its thing, you gotta let Coinbase do its thing. So as more and more banks start accepting Bitcoin, and as the government and the world starts accepting more Bitcoin, that's just worse and worse for Coinbase's case, in my opinion, for the long term. So right now, Coinbase is doing Coinbase thing. Let it go up, let it climb up. I think this is just the Bitcoin sympathy at the moment. So don't fight that Bitcoin sympathy. It's a very, very strong sympathy. You don't want to jump in front of that train. That train will roll you over. DJT. So news came out that apparently insiders were selling 7.5 million shares of $7.5 million or 7.5 million shares, I forget. But insiders were selling some shares. It was apparently the founder of DWAC, or possibly founder of Truth Social Media, not Trump himself. But remember what I told you yesterday? When you see a 9 EMA on the daily chart so sharp and straight to the downside, it does not happen by luck. That is a systematic sell program and algo that is selling ever so often, and it is actually painting the 9 EMA that way. It is the algo's reason for that EMA to get painted. And then you have a couple random tweets from Trump saying, hey, I'm not selling, I'm never fucking leaving. He pulls the Wolf of Wall Street event that brings in some liquidity just for that seller to continue selling more stock. So I told you guys, I'm not fooled by this nonsense. Anytime you see an upgrade come out from a company, or sorry, from an analyst, I have like a tin hat on. I'm thinking that he brought the upgrade because he needs liquidity. Him posting the upgrade but brings in buyers, and that is the exit liquidity for this analyst. So I'm always skeptical about these analyst upgrades, downgrades, and so on. Sometimes if the price action supports that upgrade and supports the downgrade, then yes, there's value behind it. But most of the time, It's a game. It's a game, right? So DJT, that's what happened. You got the game played on, and now it seems like we could have been done with the selling, going back into what the SPAC price is. The SPAC price is basically $10, managing to bounce off of that around $10 area. This could potentially even be a good investment for the potential election run. As long as the stock stays above $10, buying DJT into 12, into 11, and risking around 10, around 9, and seeing if Trump actually wins. Because if Trump wins, this stock is going back into 50. I am not doubting that at all. So you risking $2-3, getting like $40 out of that, is that not a good risk to reward trade? So watching how DJT sets up for the next few days, we're seeing a little bit of characteristics changing. Right now 13 is being supported for 2 days in a row. I want to see a couple more supports, a little bit more shake and wiggle of the buyers over here, and then a pop right back up. Once we see that wiggle come into play, I think that wiggle has honestly played out already, but once we see that bigger wiggle come into play, that could be a good trigger for us to get long for a bigger picture play over here on DJT for that election campaign, for that election trade idea. So watching DJT for sure going into October, going into November. The next few stocks that I have on the watch list are basically the Mag 7, the Apples, the Teslas, the Metas. Meta was ridiculously strong today. Well, it was kind of weak today, but it bounced off of one of my levels, at which point I thought it was strong. That's the only thing that I cared about. So it bounced off of my level. I got to play a long on Meta. Let me show you my chart on this stock. Here's my Meta long. Took the long there, scalped out. Tried to add some more on that consolidation, and then I got stopped out on that trade. Took another long, got stopped out, but I got right back in, and I managed to hold it for a pretty big juice up run for over there. So Meta, my #1 trade on the day today. Mainly the reason why I was green. Today. So shout out to Meta. Was not able to get into a short. Not sure why. For someone who screams he's a bear, was not able to get into the short on the market today. Although the short on the market was fairly easy. Even Meta, you can see how Meta struggled at yesterday's high and then just sold off. That was a fairly easy short right into yesterday's high. Sorry, yesterday's low. So opportunities were there. I just couldn't bring myself to go short. So when the longs showed up, I made sure that I took advantage of the longs. That's all it takes. If you miss your trades, don't chase them. Just wait for the next trade. Be patient. When the next trade shows up, take advantage of it, right? So Meta, let's go to the hourly chart on Meta. That's not the chart I want to go to. This is the one I want to go to. Let's go to the hourly chart on Meta. If you notice on the hourly, Meta actually managed to stay above that 561 price point. So staying above the Tuesday's hourly kind of hold low was bullish enough to look long. As long as we stay above it, the longs are still the right direction to look for in this stock, in my opinion. Look to get long on the dips, wait for the lows to come into play, or wait for yesterday's technical levels, such as yesterday's VWAP, yesterday's close, which is basically today's close, today's VWAP. See how the stock reacts off of these important tech levels, and then you can choose to make a decision, see if the 5-minute patterns are clean or not. So for me, the longs are still the play as long as we stay above 561 on Meta. On Apple was fairly strong on the bounces today. I was looking short, but it was fairly strong on the bounces today. Right off the open, here's Friday. Right off the open, let's actually go to the better chart for 5 minute. Right off the open, we did flush, and I was looking for a bigger move down, but it never really set up for that, and then it just stayed strong for the rest of the day, that I did not want to short the stock at all. So good job on me recognizing the strength in Apple, and forcing myself to stay away from trying to short on Apple, no matter how much I want to short Apple. My personal bias on Apple right now is too strong to get long. Ooh, nice rhyme. Too strong to get long, but it was not strong enough to force a short. So I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that. But I don't believe the strength in the stock at the moment. So looking to get short on pops. Looking to get short on pops. See if those pops show me some reject. But the market looks resilient at the moment. The market looks pretty resilient at the moment. Does not look weak. I mean, that's not a weak bounce on the market. After closing the whole gap, we bounced fairly well and closed up almost 1%. So that's not a weak bounce on the market in my opinion. So looking... Not for a free fall Friday. I had to say it. I'm not looking for a free fall Friday, but what am I really looking for on the market? I guess like it really needs to show me selling under like 485, 484 area. So it's got a lot of room to the downside and then break that weakness for me to see the weakness on the market to get ready for. I don't think we're there yet. All this Chinese catalyst coming out, you know, the market having a 50 beeps rate cut recently, the economic catalyst looking good. Today's economic numbers, which I said should be the juice of the day today, and they were. The economic numbers today in pre-market took the market higher. Sadly, did not have enough juice to keep it that much higher and had to sell off the open, but that was the catalyst. Do we have any economic juice tomorrow? Let's take a quick look at that. Econ calendar. This is tomorrow. Okay, so we got core PCE. That's something. 8:30. More 3-star events. I don't really see 3-star events, and these are the commodity numbers, so those are useless. We got Fed member at 1:15. We got Atlanta GDP at 10:30. Michigan sentiment numbers coming out at 10 o'clock. Wholesale inventories, retail inventories, personal spending. Mainly looks like 8:30. Sometimes these Michigan numbers move the market. I have seen them move the market before, so don't be surprised if you see a random algo reaction at 10 o'clock if these numbers come far from expectation. For example, it says 3.1% for the Michigan 5-year inflation expectation, but if it comes 4.1%, then that's not going to look so good, and the algos will perceive that as a potential weakness in the market, and they might start selling off some of the ETFs, some of the stocks, and so on. So I have seen events like that happen. Right now, we are not really seeing economic data come out to the weak side compared to the forecast. We're actually seeing them come out to the good side, and today, for example, we saw it come out really well to the good side and cause the market to fly up to the upside. Which one was it that really took the market? The jobless claims? I guess it wasn't really that good. I guess it was a little bit better than what they expected. More people are jobless, yay, woo! So core PCE 8:30, potentially the market makes a spike off of those numbers. We'll see if the 10 o'clock numbers move the market or not. Then 1:15, you have Fed member Bowman giving his comments about the potential state of the market, state of the economy, state of the inflation battle, and so on. So watching how all those move the market overall also. And that's basically my expectation. Not really looking for the short side on the market, no matter how much I love Free Fall Fridays. Not really looking for the short side on the market. Looking for the dips to get bought. If the dips get bought, I'm ready to get long. But if the dips are not getting bought and we're making lower lows, lower highs, then I'm ready to get really short on this stock market, because Free Fall Friday, please give me a Free Fall Friday, guys. Please give me a Free Fall Friday. Let's see if we get that. Gold, silver, still looking pretty strong. I think gold actually ended up on the day today. Yeah, gold ended up. Silver, I'm not sure if it ended up. I didn't take a look at silver. It also ended up, but basically found rejection into Tuesday's high. That's pretty interesting. Tuesday's high also happens to be May 29th high. So, and slightly above May 29th high is that $29.50 area. So right into $29.30 to $29.50 seems to be a little bit of a barrier on the silver ETF. So I'm just gonna put that in my notes to keep an eye on. What's that? $29.30 to $29.50. Keeping an eye on, is that $29.30? That's $29.45. So let's just say $29.50. Pride. Why are we saying anything else? So $29.45 to $29.50. Looking to see how silver plays out on pops pops, if we keep seeing rejection into that pops, I'll look to get short on the silver ETF. But if we start actually holding above 29.50, no brainer long setting up on that ETF. Potentially could also see if gold is carrying higher. These two ETFs have also used the Chinese stimulus to carry themselves, propel themselves higher also. So shout out to these names. I know gold has just been on a monster tear right now. Let's go to this chart instead. Gold has just been on a monster tear. Here's GLD. Breakouts after breakouts after breakouts. Eventually it's got to pull back a little bit, right? Eventually it's got to pull back a little bit. Looking at my watch list to see if I'm missing any stocks. I know I'm ignoring two stocks for sure, LUNR and PLCE, because there's not much to really talk about them. There's volume are dying down really low. There's other small cap names that are out there, but I'm just not really interested in the small cap sector as much as the sectors that are really hot at the moment. The semiconductor, the Chinese sector, the crypto sector, and even the Mag 7. So all of these sectors are really hot. You got stocks like Meta going crazy, stocks like Tesla going crazy. So keeping an eye on these hot Mag 7 names, keeping an eye on the hot sectors, that's going to take up most of my time tomorrow. I don't really have time for small cap at this point. I know small caps can give you way better returns in way less time, but I'm aiming for these games instead, because these are the games that I know how to play at least a little bit better than how to play small cap. I don't really know how to play the game, but I know how to play this game a lot better than I know how to play small cap. At what point I should sell my silver bars if I have some? If you have silver bars, I would say never. If you have physical silver bars, I would say never. Give it to your kids, unless you really need some liquidity, you need some actual money. Talking about liquidity, let me actually hit the ad button. I'm just going to quickly hit the ad button here. You guys are going to get a 30-second to a minute ad. This is just because it helps bring in more viewers. Apparently, if you are a streamer who actually chooses to play ads, YouTube recognizes that into the algorithm and it brings more viewers to your streams apparently. So I am going to go ahead and click an insert ad button here. You will get 30 seconds to a minute. I won't talk about anything really. Once you guys are back after 30 seconds, I'll start talking again. All right, now that the ad is inserted, in the meantime, let's actually talk to the chat. I know I have ignored the chat a lot today because I felt like I had a lot to talk about, so I apologize for that. Let's see what's going on. Fun fact, Pelosi and his husband dumped Visa stock 2 weeks ago before DOJ bringing lawsuit against it. Short Visa. Let me actually fix this box one more. Boom. Okay. Short Visa is the safest short on the big board. I mean, I've heard about the Visa catalyst. Yeah, Visa was a monster move to the downside, and Pelosi obviously just gets lucky to dump the position right before the news comes out, huh? Always gets lucky. Pelosi, the best trader out there in the world. The best trader out there in the world. So shout out to Pelosi, Visa monster short. I don't deny that one. Thank you for bringing that one up. Actually hasn't been on my watch list. Actually, I need to potentially put Visa on the watch list for a different reason. Let me quickly see if that reason is valid. No, it wasn't really valid today. I may buy the December or January calls for fun. On what stock is that about, Angry Buddha? On DJT? Are you talking about DJT? I know way DJT going to zero. Yeah, DJT might go to zero when he needs to pay for his bills. I know he needs to pay $500 million worth of bills to the government, but if he actually ever pays it, that'll be a big question. If he ever actually pays it, I received a $200 dividend from Meta. That's amazing, man. Let's go. $200 dividend on Meta today. Shout out to Big Boy Victor, because he's swinging a pretty big position on Meta. If I remember correctly, that is his biggest position on his portfolio. And obviously, every time Meta goes up, he's doing the meta dance, I'm not sure if you watch the Meta's conference last night, or was it last night or the day before that? Meta had a pretty good conference about their latest products. I would like to see how you felt about it. I should have asked you on your stream today. I was in your stream and I completely forgot to ask. Well, actually, I didn't forget. I was going to ask, but I got distracted by making my pre-market arrangements and so on. So I completely got distracted by that. Dieter, yeah, hold it forever, brother. I would say hold it forever. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's right. Never hate the player. Dieter, can I hire you to make a cool intro? Dieter's always open for business. Always open for business. I'm not actually attacking him. Oh, we're all friends. Yeah, he's my friend. He's not attacking. He's not. My dance today was for Baba. I love it. Baba obviously moving to the upside. Chinese sector moving to the upside. Monster moves over there. I'm expecting the ads to be done at this point so we can continue down the watch list, but really nothing else on the watch list to talk about. I want to trade my glasses with those glasses. I kind of can agree with you. I can agree with you on that side. Those glasses look pretty damn cool. Now that I was doing a little bit more research about them, those glasses do look... I have to fix my glasses really quick. Okay. Getting too tight around my ear. I mean, that's pretty neat. Imagine just having a glasses and you can have TV, whatever. It's like having the Apple Vision Pro, but instead of a big ass headset with a wire hanging to it, it's just glasses. It's just glasses. And then you have a band that actually uses or reads hand motions and so on. And you can use those hand motions to control the objects in the VR, AR reality. Although Apple doesn't require you to have a band. So, maybe that's because Apple's cameras in the front and all the sensors in the front can recognize your hands moving, but they can't fit all of those cameras and sensors in the glasses. So that's why they need a band on your wrist to recognize the hand movements. But pretty cool. Pretty damn cool if you ask me. I would like to try it out. Give us the link to Victor's stream. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I mean, it's not that hard. All you have to do is... Come on. All you have to do is click on his name. Go to channel. And now I don't have chat anymore. Oh, I still have chat. That's right. Click on his name. Click on go to channel. I like these links better. These links suck. When the links are just random letters, I hate it. But here, click on that link. Click on subscribe. Go to think about becoming a member. 15 bucks a month, and he said it's going up very soon, and there's going to be a bunch of added benefits, bunch of private videos, members only videos, and so on. Join his membership if you feel like it. Ring the bell, hit the subscribe, and check out his morning streams every morning, 9 a.m. Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. That was our stream together. I enjoyed that stream quite a bit. He was also our stream together. I enjoyed that stream too. Lots of fun with Victor. We're gonna have more streams. I enjoy listening to Victor's point of view, the trader's point of view, and then the investor's point of view. Love having both sides and see how they sometimes confluent, sometimes they converse. No, they go apart, and sometimes they come together. So love hearing his thoughts on stocks all the time. Every morning I have him in the background. I was listening to him talk about stocks, answering his chat, looking at positions that I've never heard before. I think today he was talking about NEP, the energy name. He was pretty excited about NEP. Never heard about this name before, right? But now I do. Thanks to Victor. So go check out Victor's streams for sure, ladies and gentlemen. Check him out. Quickly going through my watch list to see if I'm missing anything. We talked about everything, basically. We talked about everything. We went through the economic calendar. IPOs, I don't think there's any IPO tomorrow, but let's quickly go through it to be safe anyways. 15 million. Laser today. So yeah, no IPO tomorrow that we're interested in, and today's IPOs were pretty boring and lackluster. Well, to be honest, I forgot that they were IPOing, even though I had them in my watch list because I was so distracted by other names. So I did not trade the IPOs today at all. And when I looked at them, they looked pretty nothing burger too. They did not have much volume behind them, so didn't really trade them either. So that was basically my day today. Let me show you some other charts that I had over here. So here was my meta trade. This is my FXI trade. I showed you those already. Here's my Micron trade. I got long Micron right into 111 hold. I was expecting the stock to go up much higher, but because of the weakness in the semiconductor sector, we stayed under VWAP, and then SMCI news coming down and breaking Micron much lower. So I just basically took my wins and I got out of this trade. Next one over here, AVGO. We talked about this one briefly. Nice little short scalp on AVGO today. This one was what is this one? Is this Baba? This is Baidu. So I tried Baidu long after we held in this area quite a bit. We wiggled in this area, then we broke out, then we sold off, and then we hold these areas one more time. So I got long. It looked like it could have potential, but then that just immediately got reverted back to the downside. Just hate Baidu. Hate Baidu. That's like the Chinese Google for me. I just don't like trading Google, and Baidu is basically the Chinese Google. Amazon tried to short into the low a day, but the market had already bottomed out at that point, so we just bounced. It was more of a bear flag. We had a pattern break over here to the downside, so I was looking for that pattern break to continue. It didn't really continue, so I just took a quick little loss and move on from it. And here's my loss on Baba. Tried a long on Baba much later on in the day into 105, but Baba actually held 104 instead and then bounced back into 106. So missed the long, took a decent loss on this one. Still a green day for me. Not a big green day that I could be very happy about, but a green day is a green day. We get to go home with a nice little win and see if we can get a better win tomorrow. So excited to see if the market's hot, if we get some fun opportunities, another gap up on the market to potentially sell off, or resistance around today's highs for the market to sell off to the downside, or resistance around any of the stocks levels that we have on the watch list to potentially ride that ship to the downside. Well, ships don't really go down. What goes down? Well, ships do go down when they're sinking, so maybe ride that sinking ship to the downside, or ride that rocket ship to the upside. I'll stop trying. Time to bring in the outro. Sometimes they conflict, you mean? Exactly. Sometimes the ideas conflict and sometimes they merge. There you go. Thank you, Angry Buddha. English is my third language, okay? It's my third language. Not even my second. And for someone with ETL, I think I'm doing great. Last time I heard China, the Great Dragon was awakening. Nixon was in... as I say it? Nixon was in office. I recall it ended badly. Last time I heard China, the Great Dragon was like some movie, brother. You're talking about time periods way before me. Come on, Nixon in when was Nixon even in presidency? (1969 to 1974). You know when I'm born? I was 1994. Jesus. 1970s, and you missed the point. I get the point that, you know, it didn't work well for Chinese stocks and they got absolutely slammed down, or China based maybe in general. I get the point. And if the dragon, talking about the Great China Dragon, is going to bring back that history, potentially, will be bring one more downside. I mean, look, I'm looking for the intraday short, so don't get me excited, TH. Don't get me excited. But so far, TH, every time you screamed short, the market hasn't really been that short. You're putting yourself in a top contention seed for for who is the best Michael Burry clone, you or me? Who's the best Michael Burry clone, you or me? But yes, TH, always love seeing you in the chat, my friend. Always love seeing you in the chat. Inverse TH, no, that's don't do TH like that. He's not Jim Cramer. Don't do TH like that, okay? That's disrespectful. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I keep pulling back the outro because I have to respond to some messages of Bull. I was big right 2 weeks ago. You were right. We were a little bit short. We were a little bit short on the market. Great stream, buddy. Thank you, Victor. Appreciate the comments. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. But I guess that's pretty much it. Ladies and gentlemen, time to wrap it up. 9:20. Time to call it a day. I gotta do some dishes and all the other fun stuff. Eat some food. I haven't really eaten food yet. So I'll call it a day. I'll call it a night. Call it an evening. Wherever you are in the world. I'll see you guys Sunday 6 p.m. This was the final stream of this week. Tomorrow, actually. Is it tomorrow? I think tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. I'm going on a boat ride, so that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun boat ride. It's a bachelor's party, a bachelor party for someone who already got married. So that's kind of a weird situation, right? But a bachelor's party. We're gonna go have some fun on a boat ride. You know, probably on Lake Ontario or some shit like that. And then I'll see you guys Sunday, hopefully, if I'm not too drunk out of my mind all day Saturday, crying off a hangover and shit, or if I'm not drunk in Lake Ontario and you know, dead in the Lake Ontario because I can't swim. That's a lie. I can swim. I'm a great swimmer. So hopefully everything's good, everything's fun. I wish you guys the same thing. Have a fun weekend. Have an even better market tomorrow, and I'll see you guys Sunday. Until then, TraderPrad out. Peace. Adios. I'm bringing my big screen over here back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors, Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, Trader Sync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.